This is Leecent Wallace, principal of the Christiana High School. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share the Sherlock Robinson YouTube channel. Peace out.
Yes, sir, Wallace. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, it's really a pleasure and a joy of me to really have this opportunity to sit down and have a little chit chat with you.
Yes.
Because the main objective is that we want to reach out to our men because we realize that we're losing our men fast and furious with all kind of negativities. And with you, I think, is a role model who have been through the rubbles, you know, from rags to riches. You want to use that little cliche there.
Yes.
And you can tell a story to try to influence some of our, not some, especially our young men, that they don't have to turn to a life of crime or violence, but they can go through the channels that we have been through and can say yes, and you know, and try to help the other generation to be positive as we move forward.
Certainly.
So it's really a joy of mine to have this opportunity, you know.
Yes, and I'm really happy to have you.
Yes, and I think that we want to reach out to, as I said, to our men. So, sir, what's your full name?
My name is Leecent Anthony Wallace. Very peculiar name. Was given to me by my grandmother.
Okay.
Yes. Leecent.
Leecent. Wow. What's a Spanish name, French name, African?
You know, funny enough, when I was going to high school, I always ended up on the girls' list.
Okay.
But and I thought that I was the only one in the entire world with that name. And eventually I found out that a few more persons had that name. In fact, I know of a teacher, a female teacher, at the Mandeville Primary School who has the same name.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have a little pet name that they call me Zane, you know. My mother said that to me it was an Australian name. It was a white lady gave her that name, you know, and then I get to understand there are a lot of Zanes even in Jamaica, you know, yeah. But as we are here today, sir, I just want to say to the listeners, this is the Sherlock Robinson YouTube channel, and I'm invited to share, subscribe and watch, and let us help to promote community development and put a positive vibes in the space that we can help to reach out to somebody. And I hope that somebody will catch this concept, copy this concept, and help me to build this thing that we can be able to use positive role models, you know, to model their way and to show Jamaican and by extension the world that we can do it without having to venture into crime and violence. Alright? So please remember, Sherlock Robinson. Yes, sir, Wallace. So what I would want to ask you, sir, what was life like when you were growing up as a youngster? You know, as a little kid or a boy growing up.
I grew up in the Cregate community, right here in Manchester. I grew up with my grandparents, first and foremost, who were farmers in the community. Good Christian people, very good people in the community, very good people in the church. My father was probably more well known than my grandparents because he operated a bus from Mandeville to Christiana.
Okay.
They called him Rambo.
Rambo, I think I heard that name. You know?
Yes, Doctor or Rambo. He passed away, unfortunately, about 10 years ago.
Okay, okay.
And so I grew up with my grandparents. As I said, I know a lot about farming.
Yes.
I went to Pike All Age School at the time.
Okay.
Yes, and then from Pike All Age School, I took common entrance. I went to Knox College High School.
Brilliant boy.
Yes, but my story didn't end at Knox College.
Okay.
Because I ended up as a student right here at Christiana High School from Knox.
Well,
I can tell you a little bit more that.
We'll touch on that.
Yes.
You know, but as you mentioned that your parents and grandparents were farmers. So were you have your own little ground, backyard ground, or you know?
Of course.
Boys who have your goat and.
Yes. I'll tell you a story. At one point, I was given a goat to raise while I was in high school. It didn't end up so well.
Okay.
But I tried my best with that. Of course, you come up to see your grandparents doing farming, and mark you, he was good. My grandfather was very good at what he did,
Okay.
right? Because he decided that he was going to take up farming, but he was very good at it, and so he had a lot of fields. He had planted a lot of yams and so forth in the Trelawney area, and he had a lot of. He would use his van, his pickup van, to transport a lot of workers to the field on a daily basis. So he was very good. In fact, he made it. He made a good living out of farming.
And I can just imagine in those days, he was one of the few persons with a motor vehicle at times.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So you mentioned that he did well, but you know, were you one of those boys who have to go look good and carry water and those things?
The truth of the matter is, we didn't have to carry a lot of water. While there were other persons within the area who were sent to what was called spring at the time.
Okay.
They had to go to spring to catch water and so forth. We were fortunate to have a tank
Okay.
at home, and most times the catchment was so good that we didn't have to go and fetch water.
Okay.
But we know about going to the farm, going to the spring to catch water. I know about packing up the yams and assisting with the yams and the donkey and taking that from the field to the road and so forth. I know about all of that. So it was never easy, a lot of mud and water and a lot of hard work, and it has paid off.
So was it a challenge for you then? While going to school, you have to probably stop from school, or did you get an opportunity to continue to school and then probably on weekends or support you?
No, the good thing about it, I was not one of them who were asked to sit out of school at any particular time.
Okay.
It wasn't always the best in terms of the resources coming at the time, but I made use of the opportunity that was given to me, and so I wasn't one that was out of school for any long period of time or stopping from school frequently.
So where you mentioned Pike College. So that was the first school that you started from?
No, I went to the Shudley Early Childhood Institution.
Top Shudley or bottom Shudley?
No, Top Shudley.
Okay.
Shudley Early Childhood Institution. It is a little basic school by Reverend Smith's church. Reverend Winston Smith Church.
Yes.
That's the basic school I went to. We call it basic school, early childhood.
Yeah. So while going to school then, you transition from the early childhood or the basic school to Pike College. So how was it for you going in terms of you being a student? You know, were you one of those persons who the teacher would have saw great potential, or you have to study real hard, or were you known as a teacher's pet, or were you troublesome, or you know?
I tell you this. When I started at Pike, I wasn't the brightest student. You know, there were areas in which I struggled with, particularly numbers.
Yes.
I struggled with mathematics.
Okay.
In fact, and but nonetheless, my aunt, we call her Auntie Janet. She was a teacher at Pike College School at the time, and so she was there to provide that kind of support for me as well, and ensure that as a teacher and an aunt, she would have been guiding me to make sure that I do well. And so the teachers at the time at Pike, they were very resourceful, very helpful, and they pushed, and I worked with them, and I was able to get through with my common entrance.
Okay, and you say you transitioned from Pike
to Knox College.
To the Knox College. The Knox College at the time, it was really few, as far as I can understand, it was really, you know, it wasn't a school that everybody could have attend during that period of time. I understand. But when you really pass common to Knox, then they wouldn't say a thing. Turn up.
Yes, it was joy overwhelming. I can tell you, I ran from Pike to Craig.
Yeah.
In joy, celebrating until I got home. Because it was a big deal, you know. You pass your common entrance.
Yes.
Your name is placed in the glean at that time.
Yeah, man, it was a big thing. Man.
Big deal.
Big deal for
And
you.
you are going to a traditional high school.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. So I was overjoyed. And so were my parents and my grandparents.
And by extension, I would imagine by extension the community.
The community, persons in the community, especially the church community.
Yes.
They would have been overjoyed. Because you see, there was a notion back then that if you make it, and perhaps still now,
Yeah.
to a traditional high school, then it is likely that you are going to become successful with a good career.
Well,
That was the
that
notion,
was the notion
and
for
perhaps still the notion for many persons.
Yeah, man, because even in recent times, you know, even in the GSAT that just came along recently, but GSAT person, you would have listened to the news and person, parents would have wanted their children to go to a traditional high school.
Mm-hmm.
It was really a notion, you know, versus upgrading high school.
Yes. But my story didn't end up at Knox, as I said, because the truth of the matter is, while I was sent to Knox,
Yes.
I was not a bad boy. I wasn't involved in any fight or any gangsterism. The fact is that my weakness in math started to show more and more.
Okay.
And I was not, I don't, my mother lives in Kingston. That's
Yes.
the first thing. She migrated to Kingston years ago. My father wasn't living with me at the time. Who is his parents, my grandparents. I live with his parents.
That would be your grandparents?
My grandparents.
Okay.
He was basically plying his route on a daily basis.
Yes.
So he didn't live with us. So I don't think I was being monitored or getting the kind of parental supervision that I really needed to give me that driving force to do well in high school.
Yes.
And so the fact of the matter is, by the end of fourth form, I was told to leave.
Yeah?
Yes.
Like that,
Just like that. I was asked to go because my academic standards were not in tune with what the requirements of Knox College at the time.
So what were your reaction? You mentioned your parents and your grandparents and the church community. What was it like when they heard this kind of
I want to take you back a little.
news? Right?
I want to give you this story because if I'm to take you back a little, you know, I was not, because the fact that I was living with my grandparents,
Yes.
they perhaps didn't understand about how to look at a report card and analyze it and so forth.
My grandparents.
Yes,
My grandparents
and
never.
no, and so in those days, Knox used to mail the report cards to you.
Yes.
And I was the one who normally goes to the post office and pick up my report cards.
Okay.
And tell you what, when I took those report cards some of the times and look at what I was getting for math in particular, F for math.
Yeah.
And some other subjects that I would be getting, like a few other subjects that I would be getting like D's and D+. The truth is I was not working to my full potential.
Okay.
And that was mainly because I didn't have at the time, you know, someone there to really look into what I was doing.
Yeah.
And say, look, you need to pull up your socks in this area, you need to do better in this area. So that was a downfall for me.
What a destruction.
And the truth of the matter is, I tried to conceal those grades on paper.
Yeah.
So the F for math, I would take a blocking pen and turn them into B's.
As I mentioned, I was watching just recently I was watching a comedy, you know, with my wife and kids. I don't know that comedy.
I've heard about it.
Where this youngster
in fact, I've seen a few episodes.
yeah, man,
yes.
him get for I see him as an algebra, you know, and he get I think get for I think he get F. And he convert into a A. And what the father did, you know, was to invite all the personnel, all the community personnel, and plus his math teacher, you know, and dress up like this and say, yeah, you have math, son. You know, man, so.
But the truth, it can happen. But the truth of the matter is, while I took that report card and tried to conceal my F to a B's, I'm changing my F's to B's.
Yeah.
it wasn't being changed on the system at Knox. It was only being changed on my paper. So that was it. That was the challenge I have, right? But you know, the long and short of it, I wasn't doing well academically. Not because I was a slow student, I was a bad student, but because I just wasn't pushing hard enough. And in those days, you would be out of Knox before you know it.
Yeah.
And so, guess what now? I ended up at Christiana Comprehensive High School as a student, repeating grade 10. You know how shameful that was in your community at the time? You're leaving a traditional high school to attend an upgraded high school. But, you see?
Kind of imagine.
I never knew what plans the Lord would have had for me back then. Because here I am today as the principal of the same institution
upgraded high school
that I hung my head in shame to attend as a student, but never knew that I would have been here today as the principal.
Master.
And the truth of the matter is, when I came to Christiana, it was really my aunt, the same aunt who was teaching at Pike School at the time, who had a friend at this institution who was a teacher here. She asked her if she could get me back in school, get me back into this institution. And you know, some talks were made with the principal back then and so forth, and I was obliged. I was given a role, and believe you me, I spoke to myself and I said, hey, pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. Watch this. You're going to go to Christiana Comprehensive High School. That's the name of the school at the time.
Yes. And
you're going to do well. And I tell you this. The very math that I could not pass at Knox College, I got straight A's at Christiana High School. In fact, when I did my CSEC math paper, CXC held on to it. 4 of us in the entire country had to go to Canewood Center in Kingston. I mean, myself from Christiana High School, is a young man from Mannings High, I'll never forget, and 2 students from Kingston, and we were interviewed at Canewood because they didn't want to release the maths grade. It was a flawless math paper.
Yeah, distinction.
Distinction in mathematics. The math that I couldn't pass at Knox College, I got a distinction right here at Christiana Comprehensive.
So what was the secret?
Motivation. That's one.
Yeah.
I knew I could do well. 2, I had a teacher at the time, right here at Christiana, a man by the name of Jeremiah Time, who did justice in terms of making sure, you know, because he saw the potential in me, saw the potential in a few others, and he worked.
What did his name was?
Jeremiah Time.
Jeremiah Time.
Mr. Time.
Said, big him up there,
Jeremiah Time. Big up to Mr. Time.
Yeah, big him up.
My best math teacher that I have encountered right here at Christiana.
Yes.
High School, Comprehensive High School at the time. And so, it ended up where I started out on good footing here. I became the head boy of this institution.
Yeah?
Yes. And I left here with 8 subjects with a distinction in mathematics. And I want to tell you, I ended up being the regional math coordinator in the Ministry of Education for Region 5.
Eh? Yes. Who was in charge of Region 5 at the time? Is it Mr. Ruben Gray?
No, Mr. Gray had retired at the time.
Oh,
he wasn't there.
Mr. Plummer?
No, not Mr. Plummer. I don't quite remember the regional coordinator.
Okay.
Right.
So you transitioned from Knox, the Knox. Yes.
To.
And when we say the Knox, viewers, we put in emphasis because Knox had a very high standard back in the days. And I still think they do have a high standard now, but in comparison now and then, they really had a very high standard because what I can say is I have a classmate also who went to Knox, and because of academical reasons, he was sent to come to Sparling Secondary at the time, you know, Leecent, Canada. Yes. So and that's what we're saying about the Knox. So you transition from Knox to Christiana Comprehensive High School, and then Christiana High School. No, Christiana High School.
No, Christiana High School.
Okay, and then where
when I left Christiana, when I graduated from Christiana, as a matter of fact, it was a joy to graduate. Because when I went to graduation, no, every prize I was collecting.
Yeah.
Most outstanding student in mathematics, most outstanding students in electrical technology,
wow.
most outstanding students in science. It was just so good, man. Yes. And my grandparents and my father and my father's side of the family mainly was there to witness that. It was a joy. And they felt good, I felt good, and I was able to transition into Teachers College from there.
So which teacher did you
I ended up at Michael Teachers College. As a matter of fact, I before I even went to Michael, I thought of becoming a police officer. Did the entire process of the test and interviews, all of those things. Was called up to start training at Twickenham Park.
Yeah.
A Monday, but also got through to attend Teachers College at the Michael Teachers College at the time, and accepted at Church Teachers College as well.
Yeah.
And I opted to go to Michael.
My father is attending Michael Teachers College.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's where I attend college.
Ah, cool.
Ira Robinson. He was a teacher by profession, but he's now deceased.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Very good institution.
So how was the experience like?
At Michael?
Yes.
Well, at the time I did 3 years, Michael was Michael. I can tell you that because
still high standards.
Still very high standards. And Michael is rated as one of the top teachers.
College, yeah.
It's not teacher training institution.
It's not a university, no, right?
It has been upgraded to university standards.
Okay.
But it's called Michael University College now.
Yes.
And I was a part of the 163rd batch. But my experience was great. There are many times I was asked if I would go back to Michael. I said yes. If I'm going back with the same set of persons who were there with me at the time, I would. It was a good experience.
So when you say experience, I wanted to break it down because the listeners, the viewers are listening. What really make this experience so interesting and excited and fulfilling,
All right. Back in the days, I don't know what happens at Michael. I don't know what obtains there now. But when you get there, they were big on so-called ragging.
Yes.
Right? But the sort of ragging that we're talking about is not one to define anyone in a bad way.
Same thing I call grubbing.
Yes, same thing I call grubbing. Alright, I'll give you a scenario. When I got to Michael, when I was dropped off at Michael on the first day, brand new experience for me. Took out my luggages from the vehicle, and the first time I put down my luggage on the lawn, somebody stepped out of me and said, "Young man, take your filthy bags off our lawn." I was so shocked. Yes, I was like, what is this? Am I at a military camp? And the gentleman said to me, a student, student leader.
Yeah.
"Young man, you need to learn the school's pledge before you can even put your bags on our lawn." Yeah. And when I look on the outside, I see some other first year students, with a page in front of them.
Yeah.
With stanzas, studying the pledge. I promise on my honor that I will obey all college rules and subscribe to the discipline of the college. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we had to know that.
So was it a culture shock for you?
It was a culture shock. But the good thing about it, because, and even when you went in, after you finally learn the pledge and you get past about 4 or 5 persons and so forth, and you get in, you do a whole lot of activities. This is orientation,
Yes.
And by the end of the day, they send you to your bed like after 10 in the night or after 11, and by 3:30, there's a whistle. You have to be up, exercising, and they say they're conditioning your mind for college. You have to be up and exercising and so forth. But what I learned from that experience, there are so many persons who came to Michael with a high self-esteem.
Yes.
It took them down. And there were some who came with a low self-esteem. It took them up. So everybody was on the same platform.
Yeah.
That is what I appreciated most about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So from Michael now, where was the next?
When I left Michael Teachers College, I graduated with a bachelor's. Not a bachelor's, a diploma in education, in secondary education. And so my first job, I can't forget, when I came down that May, my first job was in the Bank of Nova Scotia, Christiana. Okay. I spent a few months there, and then I started out as a young teacher at Alston High School. Okay. I teaching, and that's another story by itself, because when I started out at Alston, I started as an industrial arts teacher, teaching electrical and so forth. And then I ended up in the math department. And from the math department, I became the head of the math department. Okay. And then by that time, I started my bachelor's degree. Yes. With the University of Technology. Okay.
So, you know, as I mentioned, Alston High School, right? I don't know, but there's a notion out there, like a stigma. They are always been an Alston. What was it really like at Alston? Because, you know, as a teacher there, what was it like?
The truth is, Alston High School is a good school. I have been there, I have worked with students there. They might not be getting the kind of resources that they need to do the kinds of things that they really want to do. But I remember as a teacher at Alston, I would get students to get grade 1 in CXE mathematics, in CXE electrical, and I remember a young lady one year who got about 6 grade 1s and some grade 2s, right? And went on to the medical field. So the stigma is bad, but the truth of the matter is, a lot of the students who they receive at Alston are students whose reading level are mostly below the grade 7 level. But they do get a few students who are able to read and write well, and so they work with those students. And so the truth of the matter is, it is not a bad school in itself. The school in itself, the teachers are not bad. It is just that the majority of students that the ministry sends to the institution are reading way below the grade 7.
And that poses a great challenge.
It poses a challenge.
So it doesn't matter how brilliant you are as a teacher.
No.
You're going to face a lot of challenge, because you're going to have maybe about 20, 30 students of the same low level to try to bring them up, and it takes
and what you find is that these teachers who are at these schools, in these institutions, they work double, triple time to get the job done. Right? And sometimes they have to go outside of their normal teaching, learning, contact time to ensure that some of these students are able to pull off even a grade 3.
Because Alston, you know, I don't know much about Alston still, but I realize that they have changed the uniforms and they try, you know, sport, the Costa Cup. Well, they're not in it this year, but I realize that they try to promote the school, and there was this. At one time you see Alston, in recent times you see Alston in the news quite a lot. I don't know what happened then. But I think you know, maybe with the Minister of Education, Mrs. Favor Williams, probably need to take a look at Alston and, you know, try to provide them with some more support in terms of resources, and, you know, probably send, you know, try to balance the student who you send there to kind of give the thing a oomph and you know, bring them up to a higher level. I think that is one of the things probably Miss Favor Williams, Minister of Education, probably that's one of the things I need to do, Miss. It's just a suggestion here. Yeah.
Well, you said it right. Balance.
Yeah, man.
We need balance in education. Right. And that will take the thing forward.
So you spoke about being a teacher at Alston, industrial art teacher,
and math.
Head of maths department. And then what was the next step?
And from there now, I saw an ad in the Gleaner about the Ministry of Education recruiting mathematics specialists island-wide. And so I took the opportunity to apply for one of those posts and was successful. Did an interview in Kingston, was successful, and then I was placed in Region 5 as a mathematics specialist, supporting mainly the primary schools, a cluster of primary schools. So now I was going around as a math specialist, providing support to schools within a specific cluster.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And your major in mathematics while you were at Michael College?
Mostly industrial arts.
Okay. So after that, no,
I did some math when I did the bachelor's degree.
The viewers, I think the viewers are interested to know, how did you become principal of the school Christiana Comprehensive then, when you used to be a student?
Yes.
And fast forward now to 2023, you are the principal of Christiana High School. How did you get into become the principal of the school that you didn't want to? You were ashamed of back in the days.
Yeah.
How did it work?
You know, when I have after leaving the ministry, because I need to tell you this, because when I was a math specialist in the ministry,
yeah,
my third year when I was supposed to go back into the classroom, I was called back by the ministry to be the regional mathematics coordinator for Region 5.
Okay.
And so I took up that role, and then thereafter I became the principal of Devon All-Age School.
Oh.
So I went to Devon All-Age School and I was principal there. I spent 4 years as principal at Devon All-Age School.
Interesting story.
Yes, and then by my second year at Devon, then Christiana High School came up. So I said, this is my alma mater, why not apply for the post of principal here? And I tell you what, I said to myself, who better? Or who's the best person to come and tell a panel that they are the best person for the job, because I have been here as a student and I want to come back to say to my students, I have been to Christiana High School and here I am today.
Brilliant story.
Yes.
So sir, let me ask you now, in contrast to being a teacher versus a principal, what were some of the challenges that you have encountered during that experience?
Well, that's a good question, you know, because as a teacher, you're mostly supervising your students in the classroom, right? As a principal, you are in charge of the day-to-day operations of the entire plant, and so your mode of operandi is different. So how do I move from being a teacher to be a principal and ensure that my role remains relevant and also that I am as effective as I would be as a teacher? The roles are different, but you, as a principal, you have to ensure that you split justice. You have to be fair and practical, and you're not always going to be loved by some of the decisions that you're going to have to take.
Especially when they're not popular.
Especially when they're not popular. But you have to remain resolute and strong in this work.
So in other words, so you have to have a broad back, because you have to strong backbone. You have to take the backlashes and all that.
It's not easy, but you have to. If you find a good team of persons that you are able to work with, right, then it makes your job easier. And at Christiana High School, I can tell you, I have a very excellent team here working.
Okay. So what were some of your as a principal? How long have you been principal here?
I am here from May 2016.
Okay.
So roughly 7 years.
So what are some of your highlights here as a principal? I don't want to talk about the positive things now.
Yes.
At this juncture.
Alright, so again, there are a number of things that I saw to do when I came here. We have transformed the plant, the physical plant, in many ways. You will see the lobby, you will see the driveway, the transformation in the driveway. You'll have seen the improvement in the windows on this side of to the administrative building. We have put in place a dorm facility to host student athletes.
Sports activities, okay.
Yes. Under my watch, I have purchased a coaster bus. Yes, to help with the transportation of students to and from games and other activities that the school may participate in. And so, you know, a number of initiatives we have put in place. Also, where teaching and learning is concerned, We have upgraded our reading labs. You know, we have looked at improvement in some of our technical vocational areas. We have developed many of the areas where those are concerned. Cosmetology, technical drawing, electrical, all of those areas. We have put some development in those areas. Because the truth of the matter is, we are really big on practical.
Yes.
The practical ability of the students, developing the skill set of our students here at Christiana High School. And so we have to look at how we can improve on those areas that we have.
So in terms of CXC results, how is that? How are you ranked now?
You know,
compared to
if you follow the ranking, because the ranking, I don't think the ranking is a fair measure for high schools, because as you know, we are not graded high school.
Yes, yes.
Right? And the number of name changes over the years. We are not a traditional high schools. And like Ulster, we would have received some of those students who are at the lower end of the
reading level.
Yes, at the continuum. So yes, where their reading level and the challenges that we would have encountered in preparing students, and what the ranking does is say to us how many students you have in your fifth form cohort who are able to leave with 5 or more CSEC subjects.
Okay.
So while at a traditional high school, they may have more students going up within their cohort.
Yes.
At the non-traditional high schools, you may not be able to send up everything from your fifth form cohort. So right there and then the ranking will becomes flat.
Okay.
So how many from your cohort is actually able to manage 5 or more CSEC subjects? And that is the big question.
Okay.
So in terms of what we are able to do at Christiana High School, I think we have done very well over the years.
So in other words, I don't want to say that you said, but in a way, somewhat I understand what you're saying. The ranking at times can be a bit misleading.
It can be a bit misleading, because think about it.
Okay.
If you are going to say at Glenmuir High School, at Manchester High School, all of these students, the cohort, the entire cohort, what percentage of your fifth form cohort has gotten 5 or more subjects in CXC, and compare that to a Alston, come on now, compare that to a Christiana, who for the most part you're sending a lot of children to us with their reading levels at prim and pre-prim and non-starter, right? Some grade 6, some grade 5, some grade 4, and a few students who are reading at grade 7 and above. And if you think about it, by the time these students get to fifth form, will they be ready to sit 5 CXC subjects? I doubt that.
5 years will be too
I doubt that. So what many of these schools have been doing is to ensure that these students are able to leave numerate and literate. That is very important.
Yes.
And there are many success stories that can be told from that, because we had a boy who came to us who couldn't read but ended up at the University of the West Indies. That is the real success. He didn't leave with 5 or 6 subjects.
I'm glad I mentioned that because I did an interview with Mr. Jasper Gabriel, and he told me of a student, was a male student, who when he came into the school, he almost dropped out of school, and he took that, put some things in place and allowed that youngster, and he received the what's the Governor General's Award or some national award, Yeah, man. So we understand that schools, principal and teachers, as much as person might think otherwise, but they are doing a very, very, very important and effective job to our youngsters. So we must not see these persons and just think that they are just teachers. It's a whole lot of work have to go behind the scene to cause the output to look successful and prosperous. So I'm glad you said it.
That is so true. So let me tell you what I say at Christiana High School. If I can get my students to leave here numerate, literate, and I always said those who can do CXC, we must get them to do the CXC. Get them to do the 5 subjects, get them to do the 6 subjects, the 7 subjects, any amount, and do well at it. But when you leave Christiana High School, you must leave at least with a skill and with some manners.
Yeah,
I would have done my job.
And I can attest to that, Mr. Wallace. Because when I went to Spalding Secondary then, when I left Spalding Secondary, I didn't leave with any CXC subjects. I left with, I think it was 4 SSC subjects at the time, and it was when I got a job at Belfield High School, working in the tuck shop. That was when I went and did my CXC, and I decided I want to go right back to Spalding Secondary. It was high school then. To go to even institution, and I went back and I got 7 CXC subjects, including a distinction in a particular subject.
Yes.
And I stayed right in the tuck shop at Belfield. And as a matter of fact, I stayed right in the tuck shop at Belfield and got registered into UA Home Campus. So I want to say to students, and what Mr. Wallace is saying is true. Even if it does not leave with any CXC passes, don't be shame and embarrassed about yourself. Hold your head up high. If you show us, tell yourself that the highest by equipment reach and kept. There are other institutions out there that you can attend. Even institution online, as a matter of fact, the platform is very broad now for you to develop your learning. So don't be embarrassed. Just tell yourself that you're gonna utilize and become more and push yourself more. And become successful. It can happen. I'm a testimony of it. And here Mr. Wallace, the principal of Christiana High School, is telling his success story. So it can be done. Don't think it is impossible. But you have to have God, Jehovah, Jesus at the center stage. There's a popular Bible verse that said, I can do things through Christ. All things through Christ, that's what we have. Philippians 4 verse 14. Verse 13, right. So, guys, young men, young ladies, youngsters, it can be done. You don't have to get involved in any criminal activities, any scamming or them something there. Because you still have young people, you still have youngsters today that is not doing it. When I graduated in 2017 from UA, there was a whole lot of persons that have to keep the graduation 4 times, to show how much success stories are out there. So we are appealing to our young men. We want to become positive and take back on a role in society, man, and become the father figure, become the model personnel that person want to emulate as we move forward. Because we're losing a lot of you to some things that not really necessary. So we are calling our youngsters, especially the men. Because we applaud the ladies because they are doing exceptionally well. But to our young men, you don't have to smoke Mali and vape and get high and rum in a lick, in a sweet and all them something there and take on the ganja smoking, them things and not do nothing for you. And if you don't believe me, just looking at the environment around you, how many persons you see are smoke and them things there. Look at it and prove for yourself how many of them have that are successful. Look at it. So you don't have to take what I'm saying, but just look. Ben, we are appealing to you. So, Sir Wallace, question, sir. You know that most developing upgrading high school, they are now transitioning from the shift system to a straight day system. How is Christiana with going with that process? How is it for Christiana?
Well, I can tell you what we have been told. Christiana High School is now on the 60th year anniversary. Yes. 60 years. We started January 1963. Yes. Come January 2024, we are going to be on the shift system for 50 years.
Yeah.
And I have been making my appeals to the government. The last thing I heard is that they are putting up a building at Home Technical High School to alleviate Christiana from the shift system. I am not sure how the logistics of that will work, but that is the plan of the government at this time.
I heard this story.
Yes.
Okay, so probably in the very near future, Christiana might have an opportunity to go and to come out shift system?
Yeah, you know,
as
I said, I am not so keen as to what are the plans of the government where that is concerned. In fact, I made my proposal. I have on at least one occasion presented our member of parliament with a proposal to remove Christiana High School from the shift system. And I'll just say on this interview that I was in fact a bit surprised. I was taken aback when I saw in the print media that they are going to be putting up a building at home technical. No one came to Christiana High School to do a feasibility study. Nobody had any discussions with me or anyone else here for that matter to see whether or not we had the capacity to house a building. Alright, which I know we do have the capacity to put up additional classroom blocks. But it was given to Homewood Technical High School, and so we await the decision of the government to see how it will work.
Okay.
Alright.
And so, I want to congratulate, on the Costa Cup team, who have made it to the quarterfinals.
We are now in the quarterfinals.
Yes, man.
Hard work. We have been putting some things in place. I know the coaching staff has been working really hard with the boys, and hard work pays off. We are now in the last 8. We have a game against Clarendon College tomorrow. Then we move to play Glenmuir and Manchester High School, and we're very confident. We believe we can get.
I interviewed the coach. I did a feature on your school some time ago with the Costa Cup team. And I said to Mr. Declan Nelson, the coach, I think at one point he was very frustrated, I went to a match and he was very down when they lost the match, because I think that match should have at least came out with a point from that match. And I said to him that Mr. Coach, the guys are very inconsistent, If you can get them on a consistent level, then you don't have to worry. And I said to him that it wasn't a preliminary. And I said to him, Coach, all is not last, and you still have time, because at the time I think it was Belfield and My Gully and Knox were ahead of them, in terms of points. And and he just shook his head and said, believe, and what I like about him is I believe in my boys. I believe they have the capacity, they have the competence, but I don't know what went wrong today. But I think we have to go back to the drawing board. And they're there in the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Very good coach. Big up Mr. Declan.
Mr. Nelson.
Mr. Declan
yes,
Nelson.
He works hard. He works hard. And he knows what he wants, and he's able to mobilize the boys and get them to do the job.
So as we come to the end of almost at the end of this very informative and edifying interview with Sir Wallace, what message would you have for the Minister of Education in terms of trying to give Christiana High School some more resources for them to move forward and to come and stream with the other school in the environs, and also to the youngsters and by extension the parents who will be watching this interview?
Alright, so first and foremost I would say Christiana High School must remain a beacon of hope for the people of Christiana and its surrounds. That's the first thing. And so in terms of priority, we believe that we are on the shift system for too long. And so we should have been prioritized. Albeit that Homewood Technical is getting a building, I still say Christiana High School has the capacity to get and house a building that can take us off the shift system. Yes. And I'm appealing to the government. I'm using this medium to appeal to the Ministry of Education, to the Minister of Education, to the powers that be, to take another look at Christiana High School and see how best they can deliver on taking us from the shift system. In terms of my parents that are out there, I would say just continue to believe in Christiana High School, continue to work with us. We have to partner. This education is about partnership, and all parents are important stakeholders. We cannot do this job without you. See, our boys, we are doing well in the school. It's about holistic development. It's not just about academic performance. Right? As I indicated before, some students may just leave with a skill. Some student may leave being a very good footballer, very good at basketball, whatever area within the school that they may fit in well. We work with them and we're asking the parents to support us, you know, give us 100% support. Don't just leave them at orientation and come back at graduation. Work with us at the school, work with the students, work with the teachers, work with the dean of discipline to ensure that your child, your children leave Christiana High School better off than how they came.
For the youngsters.
Oh, for the youngsters, you know, I always say to the youngsters that are here, I know, you know, all sort of styles and things that are happening in our society, and all sort of things that are getting them distracted.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to say to the youngsters,
the gadgets.
Focus on education. It is the only tool that can take you out of destruction. It is the only tool that can take you out of prison. It is the only tool that can take you out of your grave. Focus on getting a good education, and you will make yourselves and your families and your communities proud. And by extension, Jamaica.
Sir Wallace, nice doing this chit chat with us.
Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure.
Yes, man. Very informative.
Yes.
And empowering, you know, and inspiring also. This is the Sherlock of his YouTube channel. Please remember to share, subscribe, and like, and help us build the channel as we continue to inform you about community development, and we continue to bring to you success stories one after each other to inspire the next generation as we move forward. God bless you. Stay safe. Until then, we'll talk.
Peace out.
So, Wallace, one I think I begin to do. Last.